welcome to Cosplay Stitch and Seam.
Hooray!
I'm Pannon.
And I am Mercedes, aka V-Fire.
Welcome to another episode. We're finally in 2019. We're going to intro the topic in just a second. We're going to do our housekeeping stuff real quick here. As always, if you guys want to hit us up with your horror stories, with your good feel stories, with your just fun stuff you want to talk about or you want us to cover, you can email them to us at CosplayStitchandSeam@gmail.com.
Or you can come to the website, CosplayStitchandSeam.com, and we have a form you can fill out there. You can comment on any of the blog posts, or you can come join our Facebook group, Cosplay Stitch and Seam Facebook group, and you can join us and join the conversation there.
And then also on the Facebook group, you get a chance to interact with other members. Mercedes is almost always running a new post every day if you want to share your work, if you want to introduce yourself, if you want just to make a bunch of other friends who love cosplay and Cosplay Stitch and Seam. Just check it out. Next up is our Ko-fi account. Big thanks again to those who have donated. If you'd like to donate to Cosplay Stitch and Seam on Ko-fi, it's Ko-fi, the number 4, Cosplay Seam, so Ko-fi for Cosplay Seams, and that just helps us keep our costs for the podcast down, our bandwidth and all that fun stuff, so that we can get everybody downloading. Awesome numbers recently. Mercedes was running those, and we had, I think, close to, 700 downloads last month? Did I lose Mercedes? I might have lost Mercedes.
I'm still sort of here. It's really weird because I'm like getting some of the words that you're getting. I think there's a little bit of a delay as well. So I know you said something about numbers about downloads.
Yeah. Go
so
ahead.
I'm just gonna quickly throw that in there. We've gotten about 500 downloads a month.
Awesome.
Sometimes a little bit more than that. But I think that's about what the average is right now, which is awesome. And the blog itself, the website, has been getting about 1,000 views per month at least for a little while now,
that's really
and that's
cool.
pretty freaking awesome. Yeah. So I just because the audio is being really weird on my end. So I'm going to let Pannon, you're going to introduce our topic and who's visiting us today, and I'm going to go ahead and bow out just because my headset's being super, super dumb, and I'm really sad about this because I want to stay. But I'm only going to be able to hear half of what everyone's saying for some reason, so I apologize.
Thanks, Mercedes. Good luck.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, bye, Mercedes.
Bye.
Thanks, Mercedes. Sorry you couldn't make it this week due to technical difficulties, but we're happy to still have our guest this week, who is Alpaca Ash. Welcome to the show, first of all.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Hello. Yeah, we're happy to have you. Do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll kind of introduce the topic that we're going to do this week?
Sure. So I go by Alpaca Ash. My name is Ashley. I am from the big old state of Texas. That's pretty much woo. Pretty much lived there all my life. I've only lived out of state a couple times. And I started cosplaying technically back in 2001. So that was my very first convention.
Nice.
Anime Fest, represent.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
We might have gone to the same convention back in the day.
Yeah,
wow.
It was the Dallas Anime Fest in Dallas was my very first convention ever.
Oh, nice.
And it was one of those things where I just immediately fell in love with cosplay. Like the very first time I ever did it.
Good.
And it has been no turning back since then. Since then, I used to only do about, a costume a year. Back when you're a kid.
Oh, wow, okay.
When you're a kid, you kind of go to a convention, but it's exploded since then. So since then,
it definitely has.
Oh yeah, it's crazy. I remember seeing Yaya Han at like A-Kon back in 2002 or 3.
Oh my gosh.
I remember her wearing chi. Oh my gosh, I'm ancient.
Oh yeah. No, I remember
fossil.
that too. I wonder if we have like pictures together, because like I remember going to A-Fest back in the day because I did a lot of fan fiction stuff with them.
Oh my gosh.
Way back, like, because
so
I loved Anime Fest because they actually had a fan fiction contest and you won little like trophies for it.
Oh, I think I remember that. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh.
And so I may have a couple of those, embarrassingly, but
I want to see them now.
But yeah. So that's awesome.
Yeah. So since then, I actually didn't really start I'm way into competitions now, and I didn't really start competing until 2013 when I decided, hey, I'm gonna make a big costume because I wanna.
Yay!
So my first big costume was Gadoka, and
yep,
yeah, and I was terrible and didn't make it to craftsmanship judging. I just went on stage. And I won a judge's award. But
nice.
They told me if I had shown up for craftsmanship, I would have gotten a higher award. I'm like, okay, learned that lesson. But yeah, so I guess what most people know me for is I represented the U.S. in 2015 for World Cosplay Summit. Along with my partner Yumi Gamora. And we placed 3rd overall and won the Brother Award.
Amazing. Yes.
we were like dreaming of getting the Brother Award. That's the one. Sarah's like, I don't care. If we can get the Brother Award.
Now, for people that don't WCS, tell us a little bit about what the Brother Award is.
Oh, sure. So, judging in World Cosplay Summit's very interesting. So they have a craftsmanship and a performance score, and those are done by separate groups. So you have the organizers from all the countries, not including your own, will judge you on your quality of your costume, and then performances, usually like there's a couple of people from Japan who are from WCS who are the judges, and then they usually have some celebrity judges. They always have like mangaka or like anime directors or something crazy. They always have someone really big and famous doing it. So then they also have the sponsor awards, and those are a little different. The different companies that sponsor these awards will pick the one to give their award to. So the judging for the Brother Award, they actually came backstage while we were. It was actually the performance night. They came by and were like looking at all our stuff. We actually had a funny interaction with that because I don't start out in my beautiful dress. I start out in a school uniform. And Sarah starts out, Yumi Gamora starts out in this Czech gingham, like, little Lolita kind of dress. And, like, all of our fancy stuff is, like, partially in our set.
Right.
Like, my underdress is in the set. And, and I'm, like, burritoed into my ball gown underneath everything, and before we went on stage, I actually I didn't wear all that stuff underneath when we introduced everybody. I was just wearing the uniform, and it was like pinned to oblivion in the back.
Oh no!
Because we did quick changes.
But yep, that's how it goes.
Yeah. So we actually had to pull out like our pieces to the brother representatives and show them like, you'll see it when it's on stage, but here's all the things. And Sarah had to run back to she had like, our organizer had to run back to the set, and Yumi Gamora had to go grab her beautiful Happy Berry jacket and like all the sequin work she did. It's just like, we're scrambling trying to find the pieces of our costume. So, luckily they didn't mind. So we still won the award, even though we were scrambling to show them our work. So that was really funny.
Yes.
Yeah. And and so I'm still introducing myself. Sorry, tangent.
You're fine. We'll come back to that.
Yeah, we'll definitely, lots to talk about there. So, and then after that, 2016, I entered the first TwitchCon cosplay contest, and again, placed 3rd overall. I'm a 3rd placer.
Seems to be a lucky number for you.
Yep, I'm a number 3. Woo, number 3. And I did the Astrologian from Final Fantasy XIV, which is a giant spacey witch dress.
It's freaking gorgeous, yes.
Thank you. It was definitely a thing. Definitely a thing to make.
That was awesome.
Yeah, so that's kind of what I've been up to lately. I love embroidery. That's kind of one of my things.
Nice, nice. Well, I'm going to go ahead and intro the topic this week, which, aside from having you as our lovely guest, we're also going to talk about, with all these giant competitions and the stress of deadlines and things like that, we're talking about cosplay burnout and mental health and taking care of yourself, which is always huge and I think a lot of people overlook. So I'm glad that was a topic that you were interested in and excited about. And with all these big competitions, I can see how that has, like, finding a good balance for you has been important, I'm sure.
Yes. I'm not sure if I don't know if I've found that balance yet, but I know when it's gone wrong.
Oh, okay. That is good. That is a good thing to know. That is definitely on our list of, like, you know, making sure you know when it's coming and when to, like, start kind of prepping for that kind of meltdown and how to kind of, like, you know, soften the landing, if that makes sense. So you're not, like, crashing into the earth. You're kind of gently parachuting down into.
Yeah. I like that. I like that metaphor.
But before we get too far into that, let's talk a little bit. I'm going to go back a couple steps and talk about WCS, which is World Cosplay Summit. You went into a bit of, like, the award system, but just in case, like, our newbies listening at home or people who don't do much in the competition circuit, World Cosplay Summit is a sponsored cosplay contest in Nagoya, Japan. Run by TV Aichi, and it's basically they get as many countries as possible to participate. We jokingly call it the Olympics of cosplay, but I don't think we can legally, like, use that term at all. But it's similar in that you have a whole lot of countries competing for the title, you know, in a world summit. And it's, unlike most cosplay contests, and I mean, you can talk about this as well, Ash. They have a lot of, events, they have a lot of, like, travel, they have a lot of kind of, like, promotional stuff that you get to take part of. Yeah.
I did the Aichi Prefecture tourism video. Have you seen that?
Oh, nice. I have, yes.
Okay, good. I don't have to explain that one to you. It's really hilarious.
Awesome.
It was fun to do. It was really fun to do. And we got to run around with Chris Glenn, who's the MC for World Cosplay Summit. He has
nice.
Everybody lovingly calls him the Voice.
Yep, I know
Very
exactly.
He's fun fact about him, he's way into historical Japanese armor. It's really cool.
Oh, that's awesome. Very cool.
So we were at the the Inuyama castle with him.
Nice. Yeah.
He was pointing out all the samurai armor and talking about it.
Oh, that's so cool to, like, get to go with an expert like that.
Yeah, that was really neat. So, yeah, we got to go to the Totoro house, too. So, that was really cool.
Yay!
And I'm going to admit this, that I didn't know, but you're not supposed to touch the things inside the drawers or the closets in the Totoro house.
Oh, no!
And I totally took out the hat that is supposed to be May's hat and her satchel, and I totally put them on.
Oh, no!
And there's a picture of me wearing them.
Evidence.
They're made for, like, there's photographic evidence, and I was like 3. It's for, like, a 3-year-old, you know, so of course does not fit. And I have a derpy picture of me wearing those things. And
oh my god!
Sarah took the picture. So we didn't know, and nobody stopped us. So we were filmed. So. But if you go to Nagoya and go to the Totoro house, don't actually take anything out of anything. You can open drawers.
Yeah.
You can open drawers and you can open closets, but don't take anything out.
Good advice. I like that.
Yeah. Don't do me. This is going to be the theme of the podcast this evening is don't do what I do.
I mean, I feel like that's a lot. Like, with those of us who have been at it since, like, 2001, like we've been saying, like, we learned a lot by making a lot of dumb mistakes, and so
it's true.
So I hope with this podcast, you know, we can just give some warning to people new to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's what all that experience is for. So, a little bit. I have a few questions for like some of them are from people at home, and some are just in general about World Cosplay Summit. But what made you guys feel like you as a team were ready to take on something that big?
Oh, that's a really, really good question. I actually really enjoy talking about this part because I think like I feel like we assumed things that were smart to do, but we didn't really know that it was like smart to do this. But so my partner Yumi Gamora and I met in 2014, and we had overheard. We actually used to work at the same place, so we met through work, and I was actually present for her interview. I wasn't like part of her hiring.
Wow! Yeah.
So I was actually in part of the interview. And she was talking about cosplay, and I was like, oh, cosplay friend. You should hire her because cosplay friend. You know, I didn't have any say over whether or not she was hired.
Yeah.
But, so I was like, yay, I hope she gets hired because cosplay friend. You know, I obviously gave my, like, yay, yeah, totally hire her. And so, luckily she accepted, and we started working together at the same place. And so people kept telling her, hey, Ashley cosplays. And then I kept hearing, "Oh yeah, have you talked to her yet? She cosplays." And I'm like, "Yeah, we haven't talked yet." And so one day we locked eyes across the break room. We're like, "Hey, we hear each other cosplays," and so we started talking. And then I found out that she had wanted to do World Cosplay Summit, and she was actually going to be doing 2014, or I think. But she wasn't able to, life happens.
Yeah.
So life happened with her, and so she couldn't actually do it. And her previous partner wasn't in this. They weren't local anymore. And so we were like, well, maybe we should try it. And so we had talked about it. And then what we had decided to do, why don't we try doing a competition together first?
That's a good idea. Yeah.
Yeah. So we picked a local convention. We actually Anime Fest. It's actually
nice.
Anime Fest.
Okay.
Yeah, Anime Fest came back. So Anime Fest 2014, we actually did a skit together. So we, actually, and Gadoka is coming back here too.
Yay!
I actually, since, generally with competitions, there's not, it's like, if you haven't won, like, a major award with a costume, it's, usually it's fine to, compete again with it. And so Madoka only got, a judge's award, had never been judged craftsmanship-wise.
Oh,
and
gotcha.
I went back and revisited Gadoka, and actually adjusted some things on her, and we did a Madoka skit for Anime Fest together. And we put this together in a month, but I already had my giant costume, but did a lot of things, repairs and adjustments and improvements, and actually made it possible to do I call it a quote unquote quick change. It's not really that quick.
I mean, on stage change, still pretty quick.
Yeah, it was. I went behind a barrier, and I was in kind of regular Madoka, and then tore that off and put some wings on, and put on the big skirts, and so modified it to be able to do kind of a quick-ish change with it. And so we did a Madoka skit together, and we actually ended up winning Best in Show with that.
Cute.
And we didn't want to murder each other. We had a lot of fun. Yeah,
that is good.
So that's kind of what I recommend is if you've never competed with your partner before, to definitely try it out. See if you can do somewhere local, so it's like a low investment, so low time, low cost investment, because you can just drive there. Yeah, and we ended up, I think we ended up staying there. Yeah, we were there the whole weekend. And so it really wasn't a big deal to do it, and if we just absolutely hated working with each other, we knew, hey, not a good thing to do. So definitely recommend, try to come up with it doesn't have to be a crazy skit. Right. I do recommend, if you're going to do WCS, is to do kind of a practice skit. Don't necessarily do the thing you would do for WCS, because you want to save that, because they don't, you don't want to compete, and you can't compete in a thing before using it for WCS. But yeah, so I definitely recommend just kind of come up with a fun skit idea, something that's something that you guys can work on together and try out. And
Okay.
if you, it helps you like learn your work styles, how each other
Definitely
approaches problems, and you see if you're like, hey, is this actually fun? And
yeah,
with World Cosplay Summit is, even though it is a lot of fun, it's a lot of work and it's a lot of stress. And you want to make sure that at the end of it, you don't want to murder each other while you're in Japan.
Well, I feel like it's unlike any other costume contest in that you can only have 2 people, and that includes everything that you're doing. It includes moving your sets, it includes, like, any costume changes, any special effects. You can't have stage ninjas, it's all just you 2. So it's a lot of work and a lot of stress on just 2 people, for sure.
Oh, heck yeah. Yeah, and I feel like if you can come out of even just going to finals in the US, and if you can come out of that and you're still like friends afterwards, like that's a great thing. Like keep that friendship. That is a strong friendship.
So continuing in that, I know you were talking about with Madoka, like you had already put that together ahead of time because you had it from the previous competition. You just hadn't done craftsmanship. How long did your build for WCS take, or how long, and versus that, how long did you plan that it would take?
Oh, yeah, that's a good question. So for our qualifier for World Cosplay Summit was at IkiCon, and that's actually the first time I met you. I
remember, yeah.
I know, and I know you guys weren't feeling really well, and neither were we. We both had the flu, so we didn't really get to like meet. I feel like we didn't really meet until finals.
Yeah, but I still had like that broken hip going on and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, we wanted to come say hi. Like, really, we didn't want to bother you guys too much because we knew you were dealing with a lot. So our qualifier was New Year's. So it was like, what was it like? I think I think the Thursday was like New Year's Eve or something. So it was like the 3rd of January. So I remember Anime Fest was in, I think, September. Or end of August, something around there. And so that's kind of the point where we decided, okay, we're going to do it. And so I think it was like August-ish when we decided, hey, cool, we're good, whenever that Anime Fest was. So then from there, we started planning. So the goal was to have something by obviously craftsmanship for IkiCon. So the end of December was kind of the deadline. And so that's how long we had planned it to take. Mostly, I feel like we got everything done. I don't think I actually started construction until, I think I was mocking up like maybe mid-October was by the time we kind of figured out everything. So yeah, it's like,
because you guys have a lot of like crazy changes throughout that skit, like and
we have
and
total,
I can only
we have a total
imagine
of
the engineering that went into it.
Oh man, it's like, it was like, I think we had 5 costumes in the skit. If you count, I had 3, and Sarah has 2. Yes. Yeah. Originally, we had planned to have 7.
Oh my gosh!
But we quickly realized, nope, nope. So
yeah, good decision.
We cut one. I had this like dream of like this crazy quick change that would rip off you like super easy. It didn't work out. So I definitely started with, whenever I build costumes, I always start from the bottom and go up. So like inside out is how I was built. So I started on the big blue dress first, and then did all the tearaways and stuff after that. So
good.
Yeah. Although it's kind of weird because my second dress, if maybe we can share the skit video, but
I'm actually typing a note right now that's like, hey Mercedes, will you share the skit?
Yeah, because you'll know when I talk about, because I have the base dress that's the first change, but it's underneath, it's not on top of, it's all kinds of, we build up, we don't necessarily take away. So it was definitely really interesting to figure that out. I think honestly, the most impressive change was the easiest one to figure out.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
the big blue dress reveal was the easiest to figure out, and it never really failed, like ever. in rehearsal.
Awesome.
So that was wonderful. It was the most dangerous one was my first one. That was the danger one.
Gotcha.
Whenever you watch the skit, you'll see like there's the one where I'm behind a thing and behind a roll of fabric, and I'm putting on my skirt, and that skirt at some point during rehearsal, it's the danger one, because if I don't get that on securely, like it could fall off. I had it fall off once in rehearsal, and I was just like pantsed. I always wore shorts underneath it, but that was my terror, was getting pantsed on, live Japanese television.
Oh yeah, so. Yep. I know that feeling.
Yeah, as soon as that happens, and I do my strut in that skit, and then we move on. That's just, I'm like, yes, it's all downhill from here.
Yeah. So like on that point, like how early did you guys need to start the rehearsing element of it?
So this comes into the don't do what we did situation. So when we were building all these things, we were going to be using with the nature of our skit, we had to have the stuff built before we could really rehearse.
Yeah, I was going to make that comment. You kind of had to with how that skit worked.
Yeah. Problem came in where we had Christmas break come in. We're like, cool, we get like 2.5 weeks off. And we're like, cool, we'll have everything done by then. And then we can start really rehearsing. And we had started rehearsing a little bit. Like, we had blocked things out. But we hadn't gotten to do full run-throughs with all of our changes. What ended up happening was we both got really sick. And we ended up not really being able to rehearse before we went down to IkiCon. So we actually, the only thing that we knew exactly how to work it, well, it was actually the last two. So my final change, we knew how that worked. And then the change in the middle where we wrap the where Yummy takes her skirt and puts it onto me, we knew how that worked.
Okay.
The problem was
clever, by the way.
Yeah, that was I pretty much give all credit to her on that. She's the one who figured out how, like, she actually sewed that white skirt. So she's the one who had to like sew her skirt onto mine and like flip it around, and so she engineered that one. And I was the prototyper of the final one, and she did that middle one. That first one though, that was the one where we did not really know how we were going to do it. And at first we were going to have me like get wrapped in it, and then I was going to put the skirt on, and we were having to figure this out in the hotel room. So,
oh my gosh.
Luckily we didn't perform until Sunday, so we got there Friday or Thursday night. Okay. I think it was something like that. We left New Year's Day. Yeah, I think we left New Year's Day. And
okay.
Yeah, it was just, we were so heckin' sick. And I think I had just moved into my house, like, I just moved, like, in, like, the beginning of December, mid-December, and so we were just, like, woo, we almost dropped out, like, 3 times.
Oh, my goodness. That's rough.
Yeah, it was definitely intense. We kept going because there used to be a rule that if you dropped out, you wouldn't be able to resubmit for, like, a year or something like that.
I remember that, yeah.
Yeah. And I understood, like, why they had the rule at the time, just because people would kind of sign up, and then some people would not necessarily, like, remember to keep doing things, so it's like, yeah, I get it. So, we ended up figuring out how to, like, put my skirt in the roll and how to do it in the hotel room. And that was, like, all Saturday was just us just rehearsing that once we figured it out. And we had decided... I forgot about this. I just remembered as I was talking about this. We had decided on Saturday that if we could not get our cues by 5 p.m. on Saturday, we were going to drop out. Because we weren't sure we were going to make it. And so we would rehearse, and then we'd like do a run through, then sit down, because we were both still sick. And then we would rehearse again, sit down for a while, then get back into it. It took a long time to reset. So
there's so much.
Yeah, the final version of the skit took 45 minutes to reset.
Oh my gosh.
We timed it. I think we got it down to half an hour at one point, but
oh my goodness.
Yeah. Yeah, quick changes are nasty.
They sure are.
Cool, but dang.
Oh,
so yeah, so we ended up getting, I think, 3 run-throughs in a row where we had it down by like 5. And we're like, whoa.
That's so good.
Okay, we can do it. So we just were like, okay, there were about 3 separate times where we said, okay, if this doesn't happen, we're going to have to drop out. If this doesn't happen, we're going to drop out. And we did it. We performed on Sunday. Everything worked. We were really sick when we did it. And you can tell.
But you did it.
We did it, and we made it to finals, and we were not sick at finals.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
All right. So jumping from that over to TwitchCon, which is like a completely different beast.
Yes, very different.
Do you want to give our listeners a little bit of a rundown on what the TwitchCon contest is?
Sure. So, with TwitchCon, it's still a new contest, but the rules have been pretty consistent between, they're trying to improve every year. So, if I can remember correctly, I believe the rules for this past year were pretty much you just have to enter. You have to just stream on Twitch Creative, making a costume. Yep. So the idea is to share your process online and interact with people, answer questions. Well, you don't have to answer questions if you don't want to, but I like to. so you show your build as you're going through on Twitch. You don't have to stream everything you do. You can just there's a minimum like 15 hours or 20 hours. I think they lowered it actually this past year. So
did they? Okay.
I think so. I think it was 20 when I did it, and then they lowered it to 15. But don't quote me on that. Again, the next time they open submissions, it might be different. But those are that's really the main requirement, and you just can't have won like a major award with whatever you're working on. You can work on something that you've made previously, and you're like improving on it or something. Like people have done that. I actually made something brand new for it. Yeah. Because it was the first time they did the contest. They announced it, I think, in mid-June or something like that. And I decided, you know what? I'm going to do it. So let's do it.
So what made you decide to start streaming your content? Was the contest itself like the first thing that got you into streaming?
Yeah, it was definitely Twitch. So that was, and I haven't really streamed a whole lot this year. Well, obviously not this year. We're just into it. But I've had to deal with a lot of moving, so I haven't really gotten back into the swing of really streaming. But yes, TwitchCon the cosplay contest for there did get me into streaming. And it's really fun. It's a lot of work, but I think it's really neat. And a lot of the people that come into the chats, obviously, like I'll have friends come in, but there are people who I've met just through streaming that are just like really awesome people. Nice. Shout out to all my mods.
Yeah.
I don't have a big channel, but it's a good channel. The group's really good.
Nice. That's really cool. So we've had some people ask on our Facebook group. Sadie was asking about like what kind of setup do you have as far as like your cameras and mics and stuff, and then also like was it really hard to learn the software and to kind of get familiar with webcams for this?
Oh, sure. So I had my setup is not like, I wouldn't necessarily use my stream as like the benchmark for like a great stream setup. I think it works. It's something I wouldn't mind investing more in, but it's a good start. So I would say like, first off, like if you're interested in getting into it, you don't have to start with like the fanciest stuff.
Sure. Just
to get started. So I have like my main webcam it's a Logitech. I'm looking at it right now. It's an HD. I don't think it was really that expensive. It was like maybe $60. It's you don't have to get. I mean, webcams have gotten so like nice for like compared to what they used to be. It's like you can get something pretty great for not too expensive. So I highly recommend like especially looking at like Amazon because usually they discount stuff. So yeah, I just have a Logitech webcam and my mic. I have just like a freestanding like mic that I'm not an audiophile, so I apologize to all the audiophiles out there. But I just
Sorry,
I have a
David.
Blue Yeti. It's a pretty standard one. You see a lot of people using the Blue Yetis.
Yeah.
It's just one I've had for a while. Those are the main two things I have. I usually, if I'm sewing, I like to have a I'll use like a laptop, because a lot of them will come with built-in webcam, so I'll use that.
Yes.
And then I'll add on my secondary webcam.
Oh, okay.
But I also do a lot of 3D modeling on my stream, so I actually will just have the webcam for my face, and then I'll just do a screen capture while I'm modeling.
Nice.
So,
Okay.
So those are easy. Those are easy days because I can just screen.
Yes.
just capture what I'm doing on my screen and just it's just so much easier. But I will say, like, setting up for sewing it can be pretty difficult in my opinion. Especially if you don't have like if you're setting your camera like a tripod on the table that you're sewing on, your machine is probably going to make it shake. So that's something I've been trying to solve. Like, like maybe try to like hang it from the ceiling if you can. I've known people who will hang their cameras from the ceiling.
I mean, if it works.
Yeah, or put them on an arm or something, or just like if you get like a really tall tripod that you can put it so it's not on the table. Definitely recommend that kind of thing.
Nice. Okay.
Like, there's no way I could put a camera like on the same table as my embroidery machine. Like, that would just mean nothing. Just
right.
It would just do nothing. So, yeah. And see, software wise, I use OBS, and that's free. A lot of people use OBS.
Yeah, I've seen that one. Yeah.
Yeah, and let's see, my for like setting up like all the fun frames and stuff. There's what do I use? I use I know I've used Streamlabs. There's some like, honestly, like, there's just some great, like, there's great software for that. There's no like one like end all be all thing that is like the best one. It kind of depends on your preference. I'm trying to remember if I use Stream Elements or if I use Streamlabs right now. I think I'm using. Let's see. I'm trying to remember. Yeah, I'll have to look it up. But
you're
yeah,
okay,
so
okay. As far as like OBS, because I know that one's a pretty standard one. Going into that, like, was it very hard to learn? Were you able to find tutorials really easy, or was it pretty? Okay.
Yeah, it is just nowadays. I mean, YouTube is a wonderful place. It's just insane how helpful people are. I had pretty much just learned by looking up YouTube. So I just looked up OBS, how to set up OBS for a stream, and there are people who will walk you through it. I can't think of particularly who off the top of my head, but there's some really great videos on YouTube. Streamlabs or Stream Elements, they all have videos, and users will put videos up of using those different kinds of things. So I have used both of those, and those are great for setting up like your music, and if you want to put up like references of like what you're working on, you can put images, and and they'll be like stored on the cloud. That's super great. And then you just have to get the website for that and attach it to your OBS. It's really
nice.
Like, I mean, most of us are like, if we can handle Discord, you can handle OBS.
Nice.
So
okay, cool. Well, the other thing I was going to ask you about TwitchCon and their contest was how was it different for you going from pairs to doing a solo build? Because with WCS was a really intense pairs one, and then this one I'm it was very intense, and you had to document like literally everything. Like how did that feel like different competition wise for you?
Honestly, I feel like even though TwitchCon was like, when you think about like the time that you invest in it, and then the time that you have to like be at the contest, where it's like, it's just a 3-day con, and you walk on stage, like you have prejudging one day or same day. I think they do it same day, and then you walk on stage, and then they pretty much have the winners decided before you do the stage show. Oh yeah, I forgot I judged one year.
You did.
So
you judged
I did.
it.
I forgot. I judged 2017. So
Nice.
yeah, we when I was judging, we had everybody just decided before we went into the actual show.
Okay.
So
this is 100% craftsmanship. The onstage
Yes.
portion is not part of the judging. Cool.
correct. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So it's interesting in that way. So it is just what's the best costume that the
Uh-huh.
judges, feel deserves it. And it's a hard contest to judge, I will say.
Yeah.
I've judged World Cosplay Summit, and then I've judged Twitch. I feel like, I don't know, they're both hard. So I was about to say one's harder than the other. Never mind. They're both hard. So I will say, though, I felt like Twitch was, even though it was going to a just a con where you just have your thing judged and then you just walk on stage and then you're done, I felt like it was actually harder than World Cosplay Summit.
Oh, really?
in certain ways, in different ways. I think
Uh-huh.
mentally, I think I was doing better for
Uh-huh.
World Cosplay Summit. Like, it was tough,
Uh-huh.
but like, honestly, I think it's part of it was I was working with somebody else, so it wasn't just me.
Right.
But I think part of it is I threw myself into both, but
Yeah.
I think I put more pressure on myself
Right. Okay.
on TwitchCon than I did for World Cosplay Summit, because it was our
Yeah.
first time trying out for World Cosplay
Uh-huh.
Summit, so we weren't expecting to win. We weren't expecting to really do anything. We were like, we'll just go for it.
Yeah.
And,
I mean, honestly, I think that's a really healthy mindset to have, is that you're not,
Mhm.
especially for something like World Cosplay Summit, where there's only like one winner. It's really
Yes.
wise to go in without that expectation, because then you're a lot less likely to be disappointed.
Exactly. And yeah, I mean, we were 100% convinced we weren't going to win. And
Yeah.
when we won, we were like, wait, what? We were legitimately shocked. And so when we got back up to the hotel room, we were like, wait, I guess we're going to Japan now. Okay. But yeah, TwitchCon is like, I think TwitchCon also has a lot of money involved, and I think
Mhm.
that can potentially like drum up a lot of like a little bit more pressure.
Uh-huh.
So, but they do actually give you a travel stipend to go to TwitchCon when you're picked. So there's
Uh-huh.
not like, you're not having to put like as much like investment into like traveling there, which is really cool. It's just
Yeah,
what
that
you
is
invest
nice.
into your costume. Yeah, that's really nice. I think I enjoy the way they run it. But yeah, I think I forgot what the original question was, but I apologize.
You're fine.
Ooh, did I answer it? I don't. What was it?
I had it copy pasted, and now I've lost it too. So.
Oh no!
I think I was basically just talking about like how it has differed between this and WCS, like going into a competition solo, and I think you covered that pretty well.
Yeah, I would say World Cosplay Summit, I feel like, was more fun for me personally because I like collaboration a lot.
Yeah.
And it is really cool to just work on a build. You're like, okay, this is just me. I'm working on this. Like, I'm going to make all these decisions and just go for it and just put myself into it. And it's really great. But I am cursed with being an extrovert. And I really, and part of it I think is a confidence thing, is like, when it's just you, it's like it's all on you. But when it's like a team, like you feel like you can kind of like depend on each other. And it's, and it's also like, if you're getting nervous, you can tell your partner, hey, I'm getting nervous. And, like we developed little funny things we would do when we got really nervous. Like we would Zoidberg. Our chant was butts, so we would go butts, 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 and butt bump each other. Yeah, we're a garbage team. We're not classy at all, and so we'd also play like stupid songs for ourselves, like "Kiss from a Rose" or oh man, we had just a bunch of things we would do just to kind of like, shake off the nerves. And I think there's video somewhere of us doing our pre-show, like our little handshake thing that we do. Yeah,
I think
we shake everything off.
that actually leads really well into the main topic, which is like not getting burned out with cosplay.
Yes.
And it sounds like for you it worked a whole lot better to have someone paired with you, because you kind of play off of each other and help you not get as stressed, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. For me, I guess I can go into this. This is one of the main reasons why I wanted to talk about this topic, is even though it was like less of a time investment, so like I mentioned earlier with TwitchCon, it actually, like, mentally, I actually really messed myself up mentally.
Oh, really?
In that contest, yeah. So I apologize. It's gonna get a little real.
No, please.
So, and the reason why I want to talk about this firstly is just to say, like, you know, cosplay is a thing that we do for fun. Most of us do for fun, and it should be for fun if that's like what you want out of it. And
exactly.
And it's not worth sacrificing your well-being for.
Yeah.
And that's ended up kind of what happened for me at TwitchCon, is during the process of building, like, I started it and I had, you know, it's a stupid big dress, and I did it in 3.5 months.
Right.
And pretty much entirely on my own. And the, what ended up happening is while I was working on it, I was like, as soon as I started it, I already felt like I was behind, and I felt super stressed out.
Wow.
And I just, the whole time, felt just awful and stressed out. And then by the time it was done, I actually got really bad anxiety. And
oh, jeez.
Yeah, it was I ended up getting to the point where I didn't really know what it was. I didn't know how to deal with it, because I hadn't really, I think I had like maybe one panic attack before, and that was like caffeine induced. So, I didn't really understand how to handle it. And, I had started seeing a therapist back in like 2010 or 11, and I had kind of stopped. And so 2016 rolls around, and I don't remember when I stopped therapy, but I think it was like 2014. So 2016 comes around, and I do this TwitchCon, and I get this anxiety, and it was bad to the point where I was like kind of scared to leave the house, and I would like go try to walk the dog, and would start getting like feeling panic, like legitimate, like I'm going to die.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if anybody's had anxiety before, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
and it was just anything. I felt like anything would trigger it, and and even though I was successful, and I placed, all of that, just that time of me just not taking care of myself, and just like I'd go to work, and then I'd come home and I'd work on the cosplay, and then I'd go to bed, and just rinse repeat for 3.5 months.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and it was just really, I didn't really feel the panic until after I was done. So it's like my body was like keeping me going, but as soon as it was done, it just made a switch, and and I started talking to my therapist again, even though I did like phone appointments, because I lived really far from her by then. But even that, like going through that, having all that anxiety, like I was afraid to go to the movie theater. I was afraid to like walk the dog. It was affecting my day-to-day life. And that's when, you know, this is a problem. And this is something that, you know, something that, you know, everybody is different. But for me, I did cognitive behavioral therapy is what helped me get through it. And so starting to talk back to my therapist, and just learning tools with how to deal with kind of that anxiety and that panic, and understanding like what it is, and that it's okay. That was actually the big thing for me, was feeling that panic. I thought there was something like wrong with me. And I think that was the big thing, that by going through this and talking to my therapist and understanding it better, it's one of those things that what kind of comes around to it is what I always want to tell people is, if you have this, if you have anxiety, or you get overstressed or burnout, that is okay. Yeah. It is okay. It is completely natural. Your body is just trying to take care of you. And that's, I think, that was kind of one of the big things I learned is like, my body was trying to take care of me. I was neglecting it, and it was trying to compensate. And so it's one of those things where I'm like, oh. And so if I start feeling anxiety again, like one of the things I do is like, hey, you're okay, body. I understand you're trying to take care of me. I appreciate it. You're doing a very good job, but we're okay.
That's actually like one of the first and main things I wanted to talk about was like recognizing it, because that is like, honestly, that's the biggest step, is knowing that you're getting in a bad way and being able to taking the steps afterwards to kind of treat it or like soften your landing and things like that are good, but making like recognizing it is huge. And especially when you haven't, had that happen before, it can be really scary.
Oh yeah. When I first had a panic attack, I thought I was dying. I legitimately thought if I went to sleep, I would die.
Oh my gosh.
And I didn't know how to handle it. And I know for me, I forgot to mention this a second ago, but for me, therapy was the thing that helped me. I actually am lucky I don't need medication to help with that. It's like mentally like tools for me. But if it's like, if just therapy doesn't help you, that's okay. Like, right. If these are all different tools. Like, everybody needs different tools. So I definitely don't want to say that. I don't want to say that my way is the only way. It's like everybody is different.
No, I feel like it's actually a lot like cosplay, where everyone sees, a character a little bit differently. Everyone interprets it, and everyone uses a different tool to make it and work for them, kind of a thing. It doesn't make anyone's interpretation wrong, but it's what works for them, and it's the way that that they see it. So
for sure. Yeah. And I think I just kind of also, like, a lot of my goals is trying to, like, get rid of the stigmatism, especially in, like, obviously in just general, like, the general world, but in our culture, but also just the cosplay community is like, hey, like, mental health is, like, it's okay to have issues mentally. That's okay. Like, but I mean, majority of us do. Like, it's a thing. A lot of us deal with these things, and that's okay. Like, it doesn't mean you're broken. It doesn't mean you're broken. It doesn't mean there's something, it's there are things that can be done to help you to deal with these things. So,
I like that. It doesn't mean you're broken, for sure.
Yeah. You're not, you are great, and you are wonderful. And if you need help, that is totally okay. And, I don't want people to be afraid to seek help.
For sure.
Because it has been just absolutely amazing just going to therapy. Like, that's, it's just, absolutely amazing just to have somebody to talk to who's not directly involved with your life. It's so good just to, and I know not everybody has access to that. And that's the thing that just kills me. It's like, I know it's really hard. So that's the one thing that I'm like, I want everybody to be able to go to therapy, because it's so good.
Well, and then it also doesn't like necessarily work for everybody either, because it may not be their tool.
True.
I know. For like me, I have a lot of my anxiety is built in, like, I have trouble, believe it or not, for someone who talks as much as I do, but I have trouble putting a lot of the issues and things I feel into words, especially if I'm on the spot. So, as helpful as it can be for some, it may not be for others. And that doesn't mean it's bad, or that what you're suffering is better or worse or anything else. It just means you need to find a different tool to help you with it. Yeah. So when I say I want everybody to go to therapy, I mean anybody who wants to do therapy. I'm not saying everybody needs therapy. No.
Yeah.
I think it's great.
So, and that's... Oh, sorry.
But I was going to say, we talked about recognizing it and seeing it coming. As far as, I put together a list of different factors that can kind of help contribute to it or help trigger it. Or, I don't know if it's help trigger it, but can trigger some of the worst aspects in burnout. Factors are money, time, taking something on out of your skill level, if you feel like a social obligation either to get it done for a group or a pair or a thing, or if you feel a social obligation because you're not getting out to see people as much as you'd like to. I mean, those are both really big contributors. Deadline stress, and even like stage fright or performance anxiety, things like that. So like if you feel like your mental health deteriorating when you have those triggers, it may be something to like look into and change your habits with.
Mm-hmm. And I think a big thing, I actually had like a dream where I did this. So anytime I start going to a competition or doing like preparing a costume for like a big event, I always have cosplay dreams. I'm sure.
Oh yes, I have
everybody
had so
does.
many. Oh my gosh.
My dreams are always, I show up to the event and my costume's not done, and I'm like, oh yeah, I just have like this thing and I can get it done in like a day. And it's like, what are you doing? What are you doing, dream self? But I had a dream where I showed up to the event, my costume wasn't done, and I'm like, you know what? It's not done. I'll just compete next year. Like, I actually had that dream where I did that.
That is awesome.
Yeah, so I think the big thing that a lot of people kind of fall into is that, oh, I have to get this done for this event, and I have to do this, and I have to. And I think just realizing, like, hey, it's okay that you're not wearing a new costume every single day at this convention. Yeah. Like, that's okay. You can just bring one. You can just bring a single costume, and that's okay. Yeah. There will always be more conventions, and there will always be more costumes you can make. And I'm so happy. I've actually seen, because I used to see, even as early, like a couple of years ago, it felt like people would take like 6+ costumes to like KatsuCon or something. And I'm like, how are you doing that? But then I've seen like some of these same people say, hey, you know what? I'm going to stop doing that to myself. And not saying that it's a bad thing if you do that. If you can do that, like, more power to you. Like, fight on, be that cosplay champion, man. Yeah. But I've seen some people kind of start saying, hey, I did this costume, I was trying to make it for this event, but I didn't quite get it, and I didn't want to cut corners, so I'm delaying it. I'll wear it for this convention instead. And I've been seeing a lot more of that lately, and that's a thing that I've been trying to take in myself. Is just like, hey, like, that's okay. You can rewear a costume. I've been trying, like, this past year. I think I made, like, one costume last year. To be fair, I had to do another cross-country move, so I give myself slack. Give yourself slack. That's the main thing. Main point, give yourself slack. But I ended up revisiting costumes, and that was really rewarding and really fun. And it's just, like, it's nice to kind of approach something that you did, and maybe you had to rush it a bit, and just going back and saying, hey, I'm going to give this, I invested in this, maybe I can give it a little more love. Like I did that with Miyaka. I decided I'm going to bling this thing, because I gotta. I'll put all the rhinestones on it, and I put embroidery on it, and I redid, like, the collar on it, and it was like, and I feel like even better wearing that costume now. Like, I feel more comfortable wearing it.
I think you make a really good point with, you see a trend of people who maybe brought 6 or 7 costumes that are now slowing down and going like, okay, I have seen that this is maybe not healthy for me. It may be for other people, but for me, this isn't working. I'm not enjoying my hobby anymore. So whenever I see friends kind of start to slip, I go, okay, what is making it not fun? And it may even be like the fun element of it, like having 6 or 7 costumes and getting to take part in that many things can be fun, but is it worth the trade-off for you? If you're the one making them, are you going to regret it more that you like didn't have something wearable for the event, or are you going to be more stressed out and regretful if your costume is not finished to the point you're satisfied with it? And I think like having that trade-off, knowing what's going to bring you the most enjoyment is really important.
Yeah, and I think for me, I've been realizing that putting all my effort and completing something to the level that I want to complete it in has become more important to me. And that's, I think, why I've kind of come to this point where I want to be able to plan the costume and carefully choose the materials and fully finish it out. And I want to be like it, but that, again, that's not everybody's version of cosplay. Like, my version is like, I enjoy the creation side. I enjoy the craftsmanship side. I like being able to take beauty shots of my lining. You know, like close-ups, like, look at this hand-stitched lining. You know, I want to be able to give myself time to do those kinds of things. But if that's not your bag, like, like, you know, do all the things, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it for me, it really depends, because, like, if I'm doing something that I know I'm going to compete in, I really want to take time and do that thing right. But if I'm doing something where I'm like, okay, I'm going to this out-of-state con, I'm only going to see these friends for this event, I want to make sure I have something, even if it's made in a manner that I'm not, like, maybe going to compete with, you know, what corners can I cut and still be okay, like, finishing and still be, you know, mentally happy about it.
Like, like, if it's, like, a group or it's, like, just something for fun, oh, man, like, those, I have taken a little bit, like, I think with, like, the craftsmanship side I really enjoy, but at the same time I've also started to enjoy, like, the casual cosplay or just something where, hey, I can just buy all the pieces and put it together. Mm-hmm. Like, that is a whole other, like, really fun thing. Like, we did an Idolish 7 group at A-Con, and it was so much fun. It's like wearing stretchy pants and a t-shirt, and it was great. I loved it. I got to be a handsome idol boy, and I had so much fun doing it. Yeah. You know, and it's awesome. Like, you know, it's like you're not, you know, there's definitely, like, a side of that I really love. So, you know, it's not just, you don't have to pick one, but.
Right. So in that vein, like, we've recognized the problem. We kind of have seen some triggers and, like, noticed some ways that help, like, slow it down, kind of evaluating our priorities. For you, what sort of, like, self-care helps you kind of, like, cushion things and slow down so that you don't get burned out?
Yeah, I was hoping you were going to ask me this.
Yeah.
So, one big self-care thing, and this is super obvious, is giving yourself the amount of time that that you want to spend on the costume, or, like, enough time to spend on that costume. That's the first thing. So it's like, if you, depending on the scale, like, if you want to do a big, crazy WCS costume, maybe give yourself more than a month, you know.
Yeah, maybe.
Be able to spread it out. Yeah, maybe, like, for, this, just for TwitchCon, I actually recommend a year for TwitchCon.
Those ones are intense. Holy cow.
It's intense. Yeah, and I did it in 3.5 months, and it wrecked me, and that's why I tell people, like, don't do what I did. And that's why I bring those things up. And I had a friend who competed this past year, and she did great. She got best in armor, and the entire time, like, I was just like, hey, if you want any advice, let me know. I want to make sure that you have a good experience, and then it's way better when you come out of the other side of it, not how I did. So that's why I also want to tell that. So, okay, so going back to, like, self-care, it's like giving yourself enough time, giving yourself kind of ultimatums of, like, hey, if I don't get to this point by a certain time, then maybe I should, like, delay this costume. Like, see if there's, like, a way you can kind of give yourself milestones to where you're like, hey, if I only have a couple weeks left.
Yeah,
you know.
For me, I do, like, a calendar. I actually, like, go out and buy a paper calendar, and I'll write, like, okay, if I, you know, it's this far away, and I know I will need this many days for this piece, and I know I'll need this many days for this piece. Do I feasibly even have time to make this many costumes or to make a detailed costume? And if I don't have time, I change the plan.
Yeah. Like, even right now, I'm like, oh man, I have this one costume I want to make, and I'm like, I have 5 months to make it. Oh my god, is that enough time? Like, I'm getting in that mode. I should be fine. But I'm still, like, you know, that it can kind of still get a little weird. Yeah, so aside from, like, time management is a big helper for me. I won't say I'm ever perfect at it. I've gotten better. I try to avoid doing any kind of sewing in the hotel room unless it's like, I need to sew on a snap.
Oh my goodness.
You know, like, if I have to sew on a snap, or, like, I can understand, like, hey, this wig, I'm going to have to style this wig when I get in because of the way it's done. Like, World Cosplay Summit, when we were in Japan, I had all my wigs styled. But when I wore a boshi, I had to wear it for multiple events. I actually had to restyle it in between because it was really hot. And I sweated in it, and you know, flyaways are happening. It's kind of an updo ponytail kind of thing. So it's like, oh crap, you got to read. You know, I can understand having to style stuff in the hotel room, like a little bit. That's okay. I, you know, it's for me. Like, I'm okay with, like, maybe I need to fluff a wig or whatever, but I try not to work in the hotel room.
Yeah. If I have a sewing machine in the room, I know it is like, it's a bad weekend. It's not going to be good.
Because having to iron, like when I get in, it's like, oh crap, time to iron everything. Like that's enough work as it is. And ironing or I'm usually prepared. I'm going to have to do ironing. I'm going to have to, if I have rhinestones, I'm probably going to have to replace some rhinestones because of transport. So I know there's going to be stuff to do in the hotel room. So you want to limit that as much as you can. So aside from time management, the other things that I do, me personally, something that really helps me is going on walks. So some kind of physical activity. It's just whatever is something comfortable, for you, because everybody's body is different. And I didn't really, while I got into cosplay, I used to run a lot. And then 2012 was when I did a really big race, and then I kind of tapered off, the next year, and then 2013 is when I started competing, and then like my physical activities went pew, like way down.
Oh, yep.
And so I was like, wait, maybe I should get back into that. So I actually fence. So fencing is a thing I do.
Oh, that's so fun.
It's really fun. It's a different, something like just having something that's completely different from cosplay. It's different from what you do for work. Just something different. And so like I do fencing, and I've actually started running again. And so doing running and walking, like my, since I started running actually at the end of last year, my mood has just amazingly just increased.
That
like,
is
in positive.
Awesome. Yeah.
So and again, running is not for everybody. Like I know, like it takes a special kind of crazy to enjoy it. But if there's some kind of physical activity, like riding a bike or taking your dog out for a walk, or your cat, or your possum, or bubble baths are the other thing I do. So I, back when I was having my really bad anxiety in 2016, the thing that I started doing bubble baths back then.
Nice.
And like lavender, like lavender scented bubble bath, if you can get it.
I love lavender.
Yeah, it's just, it's naturally relaxing. And I'd be playing Pokemon Sun in the bathtub. So that's the thing that really relaxes me. Yeah. I'm probably gonna do one tonight.
Nice.
Yeah. Because I ran quite a bit today, so my feet hurt.
That's really good. So having like activities that are not at all cosplay, and then also having things that are like physically relaxing for you, it sounds like is really helpful.
Yeah. Just speaking to that real quick is so for me, these things work for me because of like my anxiety, because anxiety, like I looked at the things that trigger anxiety, so like caffeine. And things that can help it is being physically active, improving your diet, like not having as much salt can help like your blood pressure lower. And,
nice.
I don't eat super healthy by any means, but if you can eat, like get enough nutrition, like different varieties of things, like that can also help. So I definitely highly recommend.
That's a really good point. Yes. Sleep is so important, guys.
Yeah.
Please sleep.
So yeah, so those things worked for anxiety really to me. So I had to go off caffeine.
Yeah.
So I do herbal teas.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah. So those kind of things. Those things help me a lot.
Yeah. For me, caffeine is it's a really hard balance because it can trigger a panic attack for me.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, usually if I just have a soda, it's not bad. But if I have energy drinks, I just cannot. Like, it will give me such bad panic attacks, and I have to stop drinking them because, like, it makes my heart beat too fast, and then I think I'm dying, and it's just, it's bad news. It's such bad news.
I miss coffee. I miss coffee so much. You don't know. But they make caffeine-free Dr. Pepper.
They do.
So that's my treat is caffeine-free Dr. Pepper.
Yay.
So,
good.
Actually, like not eating as much sugar has also helped. So, but
That's
so
good.
diet things can help, and I highly recommend just finding something that's like really something that you just genuinely enjoy, that's relaxing, and just allow yourself the time to take those breaks and to do those things.
I really like that because like we hear so often like the treat yourself, relax, like take a day, but you don't hear as much like maybe avoid things that cause the triggers in the first place. So that I really like that. That's good.
Yeah,
Cool.
Yeah, so it's like you might work a little bit. You know, I used to do like I haven't had a chance to really like marathon making a costume in like over the weekend or anything. But you know, even if it's just like you come home, work on a little bit of something in the evening, and then go play like a video game for like an hour.
Yeah.
I'm also one of those weird
Very cool.
people that Bloodborne and Dark Souls really relax me.
Yeah. You don't scream at your television or throw it across the room or.
I definitely have. When you lose that big group, like that big bunch of souls that you've been like stacking up, like yeah, that's really frustrating. But for the most part, like Bloodborne and Dark Souls are very like I do those to like cool down and relax. I'm weird. I know I'm weird, but I love those games so much. So it's like yeah,
nice. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we're getting toward the end of our podcast. Did you have any like final thoughts you wanted to leave our listeners with?
What I will say is I don't want anything that I've said to like scare anybody off from like competing, especially in like TwitchCon or anything. The information that I'm kind of giving is saying like kind of hoping to give a little more insight into how to avoid doing what I did so you can do those things, because I want to encourage people, you know, to try out those new things and try those big things. But it's okay to just give yourself that time to decompress and to just love yourself.
Yeah.
Hashtag love yourself. I think that's usually
really
what I
one.
Yeah, I have some friends who I said, "Oh, hey, I want to make this costume." And they're like, "Please love yourself."
Yay.
So I have that's I think the main takeaway, I think. So
cool. So I don't know how often you listen, but at the end of each podcast we like to do some cosplay horror stories.
Oh, I was hoping we were gonna do this.
Yes. I was gonna ask if you have one prepared or if you want me to read a couple and then you get to go last.
The ones you have to read are probably gonna be more interesting than mine. So I'll be the warm up.
Okay.
So I think the one I'm going to do, because I was thinking about this, is I'm going to do the time where me and my friends decided to make some Ronin Warriors costumes.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Or Samurai Troopers.
Yes.
So we were going to do their Under Armour. So it's like the armor that they start out in. Like, not their big fancy, like...
Not the Sailor Moon transformation armor, but the regular...
Yeah, it's like a bodysuit thing with like armor stuck to it. This is for A-Kon one year, and this is back in like 2004. So this is back before Warbla, back before I don't even think oh my gosh, what's the other one? I'm drawing a blank. Not Warbla, the one that came before Warbla, the less flexible one. Yeah, Wonderflex. It's before Wonderflex. We were dumb, and we decided we were gonna build it out of that acrylic sheeting.
Oh, and no.
So,
nice.
we backed them with foam, and we glued, it was just hot glue everywhere. Like, we were hot gluing these things.
Oh my god.
We painted everything, and we made 3 sets of them. One girl got sick, and she couldn't wear hers. And so me and the girl, so I was dressed as, I think, is it Ryo, the red one? Yeah, and then my friend was Seiji. And so red and green, and so we were like, okay, we're going to be in the contest. So we actually signed up for the contest, and we were trying to put all the stuff on in the hotel room. We've been working on it for like weeks and weeks, and we were like, okay, we got to like get the arm stuff on, because we hadn't like we didn't know how to put the armor on. So we had like the spandex stuff on, and we had to actually hot glue those things to the suit while we were wearing them. And so we did that, and we suffered by I think we used low temperature. Luckily, it wasn't high temp, but we were like sticking hot glue on the back of our hands where we were wearing like a very thin spandex glove over it. So we like glued ourselves into these things.
Oh my gosh.
We were taking so long to get ready, we missed going to the contest. We were actually like watching the contest on the TV in the hotel room while we were getting ready, and like they called us up, and we didn't show up. And we're like, whoops. And then we got downstairs, and we started walking around, and then everything just started falling apart.
Oh, no.
And so, like, our tops, I think, handled okay, but all, like, the leg stuff just started falling off. The shoes, like, immediately broke down. At one point, there's, like, a set of escalators that you could go down that were like, it was like an up and down, so there was like a middle like bit, and at one point when we were carrying the pieces of our armor around, and at one point we like dropped like a kneecap, and it like fell down in between the escalator and just like slid down the escalator, and we're like,
oh my gosh,
this thing happened, and we have no pictures of these, no nothing. We were just really dumb. So the moral of the story:
sucks.
Try on your costumes and walk around in them before you go to the con.
Oof, so important. So important.
So,
right.
Yep, that's mine. It's not
like
necessarily dangerous, but it was a bad experience. I'm still very good friends with the friend I did this with. I was actually...
Oh, that's good.
I was actually the best man in her wedding.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yes, so her husband, I was his best man, and he was actually there. He was actually there back then, so we joke about kneecap racing all the time.
Oh, that's amazing. Well, we just have one story this week from one of our listeners. This is from Claudia. And,
hi, Claudia.
Hey, Claudia. She submitted a few, so we're just slowly getting through hers. It says, in 2017, I went up to 2 cosplayers, one of which was a really amazing Tharia from Fire Emblem.
Ooh,
I love that many people's waifu.
Oh, she's so pretty.
She is so pretty.
Yes.
And the other one was a schoolgirl from another anime. I wanted to compliment her craftsmanship because I was planning to do this cosplay the next year, and that I loved her character. My friend, who we will call Jimmy... So thank you for using a pseudonym, who we will call Jimmy, saw me grab the attention of these 2 cute cosplayers and took advantage. He went right behind me and asked Tharia, "Are you from Bible Black?" For those that don't know, Bible Black is a very hentai series. Mm-hmm. I will let you Google that at your own discretion.
Oh, and own risk.
At own risk, yep. Are you from Bible Black? What I recognized of Bible Black was, Anyway, these two girls, when they heard, "Are you from Bible Black?" were offended. All caps.
Oh, no.
They gave us the worst look and reacted defensively before walking away. I was mortified and just wanted to die right there. I'm sure these 2 girls have a convention horror story somewhere about a pair of creeps who went up to them, comparing them to a hentai.
Oh, no.
Oh, that is very... It's 2 horror stories in one.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry about Jimmy, Claudia. We will try to encourage our friends not to be Jimmys in the future.
Don't be like Jimmy.
I found that, even if you think you know what a series is from, if you are even, 1% not sure, it's always better to say, I really like your costume, can you tell me what it's from?
Yes.
Unless you're 100% sure, ask them to tell you, because so many horror stories could be avoided.
If I'm really, really sure, I'll ask, "Hey, are you this character?"
Yeah,
check,
for sure.
Usually I haven't had anybody seem to be offended if I ask that. But yeah,
I've had some really interesting asks. I think, one of my favorite ones was a friend of mine, and I don't know how many people listening play Phoenix Wright.
I love Phoenix Wright.
But in one of the games, you play a flashback young version of Phoenix, and he's wearing a big pink sweater. And in the English version, he has a P with a heart on it on his shirt. God. And
that's adorable.
In the Japanese one, I think it says Rio or something. But in the English one, it's just a big letter P on a pink shirt. And he looks kind of sick, and he's got a little mask over his face. And we went to Anime Expo, and he was wearing that one, and had someone come up and ask him, "Are you cosplaying Pepto-Bismol?" And I think that's still my favorite.
That's pretty good, though.
That was pretty good. Pepto-Bismol. I was I would not have thought of that one, but yeah. Always, if you're not sure, just, ask. It's okay.
Yeah, it could be an original character. You don't know.
It could. It could even be an original character. I've had some where I, was sure I knew what it was, and I'm like, "Oh, yeah, you're this," and they're like, "No." No? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm just gonna shut up now.
Yeah. Yep.
But anyway, it was great to have you on our show, Ash. One more time, will you tell people like where they can find you online if they'd like to follow your work?
Sure, yeah, if I haven't scared them off yet. No, I go by Alpaca Ash. So it kind of looks like alpaca cat or Alpaca Ash when you spell it out.
Alpaca Ash.
Alpaca Ash. But yeah, the word alpaca and my first 3 letters of my first name, Ash.
Nice.
I go by Ash too sometimes. So, but yeah. So I'm there on Instagram, and I have a Facebook and a Twitter. All of them are I think they're all switched over now.
Awesome.
Facebook is weird, but I think I'm still Alpa Cosplay on Facebook, but I don't think they'll let me change it. Yeah, okay. Alpa Cosplay is what I used to do. But Alpaca Ash is cuter. So
yeah, awesome.
So
thank you.
Yeah, and I'm always open for
us.
questions. Yeah, I'm always open for questions. Feel free to like message me anytime. I love helping people if I can.
So you heard that, guys. If you have more questions about WCS, about Twitch, even about, Burnout, I'm sure Ash is happy to keep more people from having those same problems.
Yeah. I want people to have fun.
Yeah. Once again, if you guys want to email us with your horror stories or tell us, about a good experience you had at a con, happy things are always fun too. You can email us at CosplayStitchandSeam@gmail.com. You can go to our website, CosplayStitchandSeam.com, and fill out a form on there. Or you can go to our Facebook group, Cosplay Stitch and Seam on Facebook. If you'd like to help donate to the podcast, it's on Ko-fi. It's all spelled out, Ko-fi, the number 4, Cosplay Seams, SEAMS. And you can help us out, help us make those bandwidth payments and all that fun stuff. As always, the editing for our podcast is done by the amazing David Jeffress of Comic Trades Monthly, and also Dungeons and Chill, if you're into any of those. Make sure you check out that podcast. Our music is by Macy Roberts. And, always like to leave you guys with a pun. I thought I could find some good puns about psychology or mental health this week, but I'm afraid not.
Oh,
no! No! Thanks, guys.
Thank you.